Welcome everybody to the hot take. This is episode 7. Yeah, we're getting along there. Of course,
Seven,
today
huh?
with me we got Dexter Chacko, coming out
How's
of
it going?
Minneapolis. It's been a hotbed for a lot of drama lately. We'll get to that later on. How you feeling, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. It's been a hot bed. The if I were to take the temperature of the bed, it would be at least warm because yeah, there have been some heads butting lately, but it's all part of developing and being part of a community. So we'll get through it. We're getting through it.
Yeah, for sure. We'll dive into this in a bit. But I want to get everyone to know you just a bit. Uh, so let's have it. Where are you from? What do you do?
I am from Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh wow.
But I have grown up in Minnesota. And right now I am an arcade technician at Up Down, and I am customer and tech support for Bumble Bear.
Wow.
So,
Wait, is this why you got the help KQ message?
yeah. That was the source of the help KQ because we were setting up the ticketing and knowledge database for
Yeah.
customer support. And so Josh was just sending like fake little help messages to go through our ticketing software. And one of them was just Josh Debanis has created a new support ticket, and it was just help KQ. I
I
thought that's the funniest thing in the world.
no, I mean I found it quite funny. I screenshotted it. I have it on my phone. I post it everywhere I can. I
Yes.
spam it in Twitch chat. I'm really glad
Yeah.
this is a side effect of hey, tech support for KQ. Let's go.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I'd love to have some more support. Help KQ, man.
Yeah, you
Um,
got to help KQ.
um, so it's clear you're a pretty strong technician. You've built your own mini arcade cab. Can
I
we get
have.
the deets on this
Uh,
thing?
okay, so
Oh shit.
I came prepared.
Oh my god, dude.
I don't know how good of a view this is going to be because I'm kind of holding it awkwardly, but
No, it's good.
yeah, this is like a MAME cabinet. It's a tabletop MAME cabinet.
Holy
Uh,
cow.
it has like PlayStation games, got Super Nintendo, Atari, arcade, Game Boy, all the Game Boys, all the arcades,
Yeah.
Genesis. Yeah, and it's Killer Queen themed. The art was done by Francis Sullivan.
Holy cow.
It's called The Arcade. I don't know if you can see it through the marquee being lit, but yeah, he did a really sweet job with that side art and stuff.
That is
So
dope.
that's my little baby.
Wait, what'd you say this guy's name was?
Francis Sullivan.
Francis
He is,
Sullivan.
yep, he's the boy. He's the boy.
Did he do I feel like I've seen his art somewhere else with Killer Queen stuff. Is he
He's done a bunch of stuff, which is why I reached out to him. He he does everything on an iPad,
Oh
which
wow, nice.
is amazing to me. I have tons of like art friends that are like, you got to have your Wacom or like you got to have your tablet or whatever, like your actual drawing tablet, not just a tablet. Um, but yeah, he's really talented, and I knew that I wanted to make the machine Killer Queen themed, so like I reached out to him, and he sent me a bunch of stuff from his portfolio, and we made it work. So it's like I'm so happy with it.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. And I know I'm just gonna use this as a great segue. Um, gear is important for artists, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know you're very much into music. What are you jamming on? What are you rocking out on?
So I have a Roland Lucina keytar, which is the staple of like a lot of my live stuff.
Yeah,
I was doing a live electronic duo with my best friend Parker called O for Show.
oh for
Uh,
sure, yeah.
yeah. Oh, for show, for
Oh
show,
for sure, for sure.
yeah. So yeah, I just I'm like a big synth head. I don't have like a ton of like really impressive stuff. I have a lot of old school like Yamaha, like old keyboards that I really love dinking around with that have
Yeah.
like the old Sound Blaster chips. I make like chip tunes on an old Game Boy that runs LSDJ. I don't know. I just make a bunch of nerdy, synthy, uh, video game sound and music using kind of whatever is at my disposal. Right now, it's just the Lucina. I've got the Juno synth.
Hmm.
I work a lot in Ableton, so I use a lot of virtual synths.
Yeah.
But yeah, my musical background is like I taught slash teach music at a place called the School of Rock, and then recreationally, I'm not active right now with the group, but that Ofa Show group was a live streaming, live looping electronica act that we founded on Twitch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Was so you said Parker was your friend. Was he like local with you? Would you do it together, or would you like?
Yeah,
Cool,
yeah.
cool.
So that was the thing that made it so great, is that when we were streaming, our living room was basically set up to be our studio. So we had two people's worth of equipment just on our own table. We had webcams, we had everything feeding into my computer, we had a green screen. And because of the nature of our setup with so many synths, and so much like everything had to be routed just right and all that stuff, it
Yeah.
was perfect because we never had to set up or tear down. And since
Right.
we were live
Yeah.
streaming from home, like we never had to like pack up our gear to like the kitty cat club on a Wednesday night and play at like 12:30 a.m. and then, play a half an hour set and go home. Like we just were at home and we would play for like 8 hours and then be
Wow.
like, well, we're done. And now we're going to be on our couch because we're at home. Sweet. Like, it's great. It's
Yeah, that's
great.
awesome. I mean, you're
Yeah.
gonna have to give me some links so I can put them down below so people can check it out.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely.
are there any particular musical inspirations that you've got?
Uh, Basically, like if you hear, so the default reaction that I think everybody that hears my music uh reacts with is like, oh, dude, that kind of like sounds like it's like from a video game or something.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yep, because pretty much I've realized that no matter how hard I try, everything that I write sounds very gamey. And that's basically just from a lifetime of being inspired by video game music. Like do you remember like like I don't know if you're old enough like me, but but uh the yak backs or like hit clips. I
Oh
guess those
yeah.
are,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, like the
I'm old
yak
enough.
back. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So the yak back was like a little thing it could record like, 10 seconds of audio from
Yeah,
whatever. And when I was like, 6 or 7 or 8 or however long I had that yak back, like I would record 10-second clips from like Mega Man X of like my favorite music, and I would carry it with me and I would like play it and just be like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Like this 10-second loop. Like it didn't even loop. Like you had to keep hitting play and it's not like it
Yeah.
loops like nicely. It's just like 10 seconds of whatever I got to catch, and I would just keep that with me all day and listen to it over and over. So like video game music, Koji Kondo, like I don't know, that's been like my whole inescapable inspiration with music.
Yeah, it sounds like you're kind of stuck in it now. You grew up with it, and
Now it's here.
now it just haunts you forever.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's good.
that's my life.
No, it's great that you're making that music, and that it's
Thanks.
something you've loved forever. Like that's
Mhm.
it's great to have something that you can tie into your life just over such a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, definitely.
Um, cool. All right, so let's roll into some hot takes. It's gonna be a little slower. It's been a while since I've done it, so I gotta warm back
Sure.
up to it. Um,
Yeah.
so we're gonna start with some stuff. Uh, who is the juiciest boy?
Wow. Yeah, starting out with the heavy questions, I see. Yeah, this is tough. It's hard. Like we have like some really solid dedication to the Juicy Boy like armada now
Yeah.
at Uptown. I think that Nathan Palmer like really wants that title because like he will double fist Juicy Boys like with not even he doesn't even do it for the vine. He just like does it like
Yeah.
because he wants to order two Juicy Boys and sip them. It's I think it's Nathan or Mark Larson. Mark Larson also
Yeah.
super juicy boy. Loves the juicy boys. Is always shouting them, always saying it. It's there's a lot of love. There's a lot of love for the juice here in Minneapolis.
Hey,
But
you
yeah,
know what? Honestly, like I'm in the boat. Like I'm in the juicy boat. If I could
gotta
have a
be.
juicy boy, I would have it every night. You're gonna have to send me the recipe afterwards. I know you got that
uh,
up down connection, so.
oh yeah. I think you'll be surprised when you learn that it's like ice, Red Bull, and vodka. Like it's
That's what
not.
everyone told me.
Yeah, there's no like. I wish that there were like oh, and there's also like some hand squeezed dragon fruit in there. It's gently muddled, but no, it's like
I feel like when you get into that stuff, you have to be like the juicy man or like the juicy, yeah,
right.
like juicy
Yeah,
hipster or like some
you
stuff.
yeah, you at least have to have a degree in mixology for that. Like that's
Fresh
for
pressed
sure.
agave.
Yeah,
You know.
definitely.
All right, so Nathan Palmer takes the title of juiciest boy. Mark
Yeah,
Larson, you said, close
Mark
contender.
Larson, close contender for sure.
Everybody wants to hear from Newman, so I'm gonna sneak him in like this. Hot tub or a pool?
Okay, so since Newman is referencing a very specific magical night that we shared together in Des Moines, the answer to that is both, obviously.
Okay.
You you hot tub until it's too hot, and then you jump straight into that pool,
Oh
and
my
it washes over you like just an icy nightmare, but it's so wonderful. And when you're in the pool and you're like, dude, this pool is lame, man. Like I'm all like room temperature. This is I don't know, I'm not feeling it. You go straight back to that hot tub,
God.
dip your toe in, you're like, ooh, this is too hot. You jump straight into that hot tub and you just loop that over and over for an entire night. And that's my answer to that question.
Man, maybe I should get Newman on the show. He just lightens everything up.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like we are lucky to have Newman in our lives.
I mean, now he's not banned from Uptown Minneapolis, so I guess so.
Yeah, it was a really hard ban to enforce. All those times that he would be like constantly knocking at the door.
I know, right? He's
Please let me in. Like, yeah, it was a really rough time for all of us, but we made it.
Yeah,
So
I'm glad you guys found something entertaining to do in Des Moines, Iowa.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Besides running through the cornfields. Let's jump to another A, B, and this time with the C option from Ardy, right? Is that his?
Yep, yep.
Three choices: Juicy Boys, Fernet, or Malort.
So is it three choices or are we ranking them?
Honestly, it's up to you. The spirit of the hot take is I'm gonna throw it at you, and then it's all up to you.
Okay, so Juicy Boys for Net Malort. I'm gonna rank them. I'm gonna say Malort first, and
Wow.
I hate that I'm saying it. I hate that I'm saying it. I like when Malort was first forced into my life. I was like with everybody else where I was like, dude, Chicago is just all about this alcohol that sucks, bro. Like it's awful. It's like the worst shot you've ever taken in your life, dude. Like you gotta do it. You like when you're in Chicago and you play in a tournament, like you gotta do it, man. It's like so crazy and hard, bro. And now I literally have two bottles of Malort on my countertop, and I had Malort before we had this conversation. So,
I just want to point out that you said dude and bro at least 3 times, I think.
oh
I'm
yeah,
just
that
gonna have a counter, just like dude,
yeah.
bro, try some
Dude,
Malort,
bro, like
bro,
you
dude.
gotta, bro, dude, my bro, dude. Like I'm telling you, bro, dude.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
yeah, so Malort first for me because it has somehow forced its way into being like a acceptable and pleasurable part of my drinking experience.
Wow.
Um, Juicy Boys second because it's pretty much the opposite of Malort.
Yeah.
It's delicious and sweet and innocent and makes you feel good when you partake in it.
As
Uh,
opposed to Malort, which
right,
is an
right.
acquired taste, I
Yeah,
suppose.
it's very acquired.
Yeah.
Um, and then Fernet, because Fernet is just like Malort, if Malort wasn't like charming in how bad it was, Fernet's just like, oof, ooh,
You just get
like,
the edges with Malort or with
yeah,
Fernet. With Fernet.
yeah, it's hard. I mean, I'll take it. Like, if someone's like, hey, Chaco, I bought you a shot of Fernet, I wouldn't be like, oh, excuse me, how dare you? I would gladly accept, but if we have to rank them, that's how
That's how
that's
it goes.
in them.
Um, so the last question I'm gonna ask you, this is touched on by a few people, of course. Um, what does the scouter say about your beard's power level?
Wow. Well, at this point, it's definitely well under 9,000.
Yeah, it looks
If it
very
was ever
refined.
if it was ever close to being at 9,000, now it's not. I realize that basically, like, I get very apathetic about my general appearance in these giant cycles that take about a year.
Yeah.
Uh, and my beard, basically, like, if my beard ever gets that long that it was before I cut it, just walk up to me and ask me if I'm okay. because, because like it always goes that I let my beard grow out that long, and then I wake up one day and I look at myself in the mirror, and I just go, "What are you doing?
Where have you
What are you,
been?
yeah, what are you doing? You Tom Hanks castaway?" Like, I don't know, man. Yeah, so now I don't know. I don't know how much power is left in the beard. It's just kind of it's a little guy now.
Do you draw from it as you play, or is it just kind of you're like a companion that's always there?
I think it's like my familiar. Like, if I were a wizard, I think it's like my familiar. It's just always like I can kind of summon it at will. Like, I can definitely grow like a good couple inches if I push really hard.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Like, we have that rapport now.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, for the most part, it's like just my constant companion. So
You said if you are a wizard, does that mean that you're not a wizard?
well, the
Or
thing about
you don't
wizards
have to
is that
answer
they
that question if you don't want
they
to.
never reveal their secrets, and I don't know, they're never late. They arrive precisely when they mean to, like all those things.
All
So
right, yeah, some Lord of the Rings references. I feel you.
you caught it, my
Come on,
man.
man. We're not sponsored show here. We can't afford that kind of copyright. Come on. Let's see. We're done with those hot takes, so we're gonna roll on into serious business. We
Ooh,
opened it up. So let's talk about your city. Let's talk about Minneapolis.
sure.
Let's ease into it though.
Yeah,
We'll start with a pretty hot question. Will Minneapolis win Bumble Bash 3?
I think Minneapolis wants to win Bumble Bash 3. Um, that's the thing. There are people out there right now that want to win Bumble Bash 3. And I can see it happening.
Yeah.
But I'm also very, like, I guess my thing is that I'm just proud that we're like even kind of pushing into the brackets as far as we are,
Yeah.
because I mean we came into the game like 2 years late to compared to like a lot of the juggernauts,
Hmm.
a year and a half late, 2 years late. So for me, you know, we had a team. Minnesota Mean was fifth.
Yeah.
Bumble Bash.
Yeah.
I think that's insane. And Grey Duck, my team took my wife to game five, and my wife wound up taking second.
Yeah.
So like, it's it's just one of those things where I think that the talent is so it's like the gap is getting so close. And Killer Queen is just one of those games like so momentum based that like anything can happen. I think it's possible. I think it's possible that Minneapolis could win BB3. And I
Yeah.
don't want to take that away from my people by saying like, no, we don't have a chance at winning. No, you don't have a chance at winning. But there's a lot of tough competition that like, you know, we're really going to have to overcome if we want to actually win. If we
Yeah.
want to win BB3, we're going to have to beat some really great teams that are very great. So yeah, I think it's possible. I want it, but for me, just like Scene Mom, I'll just be on the sidelines once my team's knocked out, just like, yeah.
Are you gonna like bring orange slices? Orange slices, you know, like that old like soccer moms. Pull up in the minivan.
Oh,
All right, kids.
Capri Suns on deck. You know this. This is obvious.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's spike the Capri Suns. See a little juicy boy variant going. No, so you're talking about, you know, you've got this talent in Minneapolis, and part of that is, you know, not just having talent, but curating it and really utilizing it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Minneapolis tryhard scene. You know, as
Sure.
What do you think and I'll drop the word. What do you think are more dedicated players who are trying to be the best? What do you think they're doing right, and what do you think they might need improvement on?
I think that the big difficulty from trying to really take this game seriously is you're so limited by the very nature of the game's like rules in terms of like where it exists, where it lives,
Right.
what you need to play it. And it makes, you know, if you want to grind at Street Fighter 5 for like, you know, 20 hours in a day, you can do that.
Right.
You can call up your good friend who is also really good at Street Fighter, and you can just grind it out, just you and that friend, for as long as you want in your home. But Killer Queen is tough because, like, if you want to say, like, the top team in your scene wants to play against the top two teams just want to play with each other for like as long as they possibly can.
Yeah.
They have to set that practice up, obviously, like in secret. Sure. And I put quotes in that because that makes it sound like a lot more malicious than it is.
Right. Yeah.
But they reach out to each other and they say like, hey, let's pick a time when no one's on the cab and let's go and let's try and grind out as many matches as possible.
Yeah.
And so they do. So they go to the cab at a time where it's not busy, and those two teams go and they are playing a bunch of sets and they're loving it. And then let's say that like 10 people walk up to the cab, or like let's say that even a few people. Let's just say that
even one person maybe.
Yeah.
Let's say one person who wants to play the game.
One person wants to play Killer Queen, and I think that something that we can do better as a scene, I think, is it's really easy to forget that we all got pulled into the game.
Right.
Like there are so like part of what made our scene explode so quickly is that, man, for a while, for a long time, every single person on that cab would like swivel their, like if there was a new person, they would be like, get on this cab.
Get in here.
You got to play this game, dude. Like, and I think that once you play the game for a long time and you explain, you run the whole new player speech for like your 100,000th time. Some people get tired of it and they don't do it as much. And I understand that, but I think that we can do a little bit better at like just remembering that we don't own the cab and that we like owe it to ourselves if we want the scene to grow.
Yeah.
You can't stop trying to pull those people in that are interested.
Yeah.
It might take like 10 minutes of they might hop on for a game, play, you walk them through, you play, and then they leave. That's like a few minutes of your time that you sacrificed. But it's difficult. I think that the people that want to take the game more seriously are being demonized. I think for some reason it's like very polarized right now. It's like you either take the game really seriously or you just want to have fun and like not take the game seriously. And I feel like I've always been in the middle where it's like when I'm playing when there's stuff at stake, like I want to play really well. I hold myself to a high standard. Like I want to do well. but I don't want to do that if I'm not having fun.
Right.
Like, I don't want to be on a team that I'm not having fun playing with. I don't want to play in a tournament that doesn't feel fun, because that's why we're playing the game,
Yeah.
to have fun and enjoy it. So I think that I don't really think that the try hard versus casuals debate is really as like critical or like widespread as it's
Right.
come to see from our Facebook interactions. It's just like there is always, because of the nature of Killer Queen, because it's a physical arcade cabinet in a business that has certain hours that you have to play around, you have to spend money on it, you have to travel out to it. I think that that is the dynamic that really makes it hard for people. Like, there is no right answer to a lot of these social situations, and people make mistakes. People maybe like try and like, say those two really good teams are practicing against each other, and maybe like a couple veterans come in and are like, hey, you guys running sets? Like, that's a hard social situation where it's like, yeah, of course you guys can play, but like we're trying to run sets with our team, so like,
Yeah.
like, it's tough, and I feel like it's easy to make a mistake in how you approach that. I think, me personally, the answer is, as soon as people are in there, like, you got to get them in.
Yeah.
And you can iterate that you are trying to get some team practice in. So maybe you work out a system where like you play 3 games, the team with like, you spread out the people that aren't part of the 2 teams and want to play, spread them out, play like a couple sets, and then like they sit out and you play some like sets with your series team. Maybe like the other people, maybe you mix it up, but like, I don't know. It's tough. I think it's tough. I think that it leads to some situations of people feeling like not included, where it's like, I wasn't invited to this practice that people got together for like Sunday morning. Like, I didn't, get the invite, so I feel excluded.
Yeah.
There are a lot of opportunities for feelings to get hurt. And there are a lot of opportunities for people to do the right thing or do the wrong thing without necessarily being aware that they're in like an important situation like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, I think that the problem really lies in like, in my mind, we have to continue to include as much as possible. But I also understand, people want that time. They want that time to grind, but it's not, it's not something that we own.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's
for
hard.
Sure. I wanted to pick out something there. You mentioned these secret in quotes practices.
Yeah.
And this is something that's pretty commonplace actually in New York. Is one team invites another team to play the game. And I know that there's a line between that and like a 15 or 20 person group chat, which I have heard like gets kicked around.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I don't know. Do you want to like elaborate at all on this idea? Because it is definitely great to be inclusive. But how much room, I guess, do you think there is for these more private spaces for people who are maybe more like-minded, or just maybe see? I don't know how to articulate it better than that. But just give me your feelings on this.
So okay, let me just make sure that I'm understanding the question.
Yeah.
Like, where's the line for like how big is too big for like a secret practice, or like what's the
Sure, yeah.
what's
I
the
mean,
question?
like, is there room for a secret practice, like one team on one team? And then from that, like, how far do you go before it's like, we invited 4 teams, but not, Joe Blow
Yeah.
15.
Right. Yeah, I think that's fair. Right now there's like a small Facebook chat, and I don't know if it's even at the point where people will get mad at me for saying that it exists. I don't know.
Oh shit!
But there's like a small chat called like the Sunday 11 a.m. tryhards, and it's just like group that I think we were preparing for these. I don't know. These groups always pop up before like big tournaments, and it's
Yeah.
like, maybe like 2 or 3 teams worth of people, I think is like the ideal. Like you have 3 teams so that you can do like uh, gold and blue play a series, blue moves over to gold. The other team that wasn't playing moves over to blue, and
Yeah.
then they play, and then they just keep rotating. I know that there are like chats like those that exist where they try and get something going like that. I mean, it's hard because I know that like in places like New York, you actually have access to private cabs.
Right.
So
Yes.
like
Of course.
you can do that, and then it's not really like it's a little bit easier because you're never going to run into that problem of somebody just showing up and being like, "Hi, I'd like to play.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?"
Right.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what is, from a socially acceptable standpoint. I don't know like how many people is too big for that group. I think that like maybe too big would be like 4 full teams trying to organize like a practice night or a practice
Right.
day.
Yeah.
And 'cause that's 20 people,
That's a
and
reasonable chunk.
yeah, that's like a large chunk. And I'm sure that some people, because that's bordering more into like event territory,
Right. Yeah.
uh, rather than like this little practice. So I could understand how people would get hurt. But I mean, the thing is like even in situations like uh, the Google cab or like the Kekira cab in Chicago, like I
Mhm.
know that people have been affected. People have been sad when they find out that there was like a secret practice at like an exclusive cab. So it's
Yeah.
it's a good thing and a bad thing. There are always going to be people that really want to be involved, like, and when they aren't, it's not like it's anyone's intention.
Right.
It's just people care about the game. They care about the game a lot, and like a lot of people want to get good. And
Yeah.
so when it's difficult managing a public space, but taking like a private attitude toward it
Mhm.
because ultimately it can be, it's again like I ended the last segment on. It's like not no one we don't own that. We don't own that cab. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
anything can happen, and you can't be upset. Like if 2 teams or 3 teams showed up at Up Down on Sunday morning, like expecting some great series, and then like 3 more teams showed up,
Yeah.
you have to you have to do it.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
have to find a way to make it work. That's it. As
I
simple
feel
as
you.
that.
Yeah.
So I guess to all the Minneapolis, any Minneapolis people that wind up watching this video, it's like, just I think a good solution if you're feeling excluded from that kind of stuff is to reach out and try and set up your own time with people that you like playing with, or like teams. Just reach out and do it. Like if you didn't make like a Sunday practice, grab like your team and invite another team and show up to Sunday practice. Like make your own thing, and
Yeah.
then you'll get to play. And if you run into the other Sunday group that might have been a secret, you got to play.
Yeah.
Like you got to
Well,
do it.
so I mean, I don't mean to put you on the spot or anything, but like, let's say I want to make a practice, but I'm not feeling comfortable reaching out to like, 2 different team leaders. Can I like
Yeah,
reach out to you or Napalm or like, hey, help me out, like, get me connected
yeah.
with
Oh,
people?
yeah. I would say yes. I mean, like I definitely hope that like we've created a culture where you can be comfortable reaching out to people, including like organizers like
Sure.
myself and Casey, Kelly, and Nathan. I don't know, like Kayla. There's tons of people that you could try and, if you weren't comfortable reaching out directly to anyone for whatever reason, like you
Mhm.
could definitely contact an organizer. I think that would be totally in the wheelhouse.
All right. So Chaco is now private practice coordinator, I hear.
Yeah, perfect.
That's
Add it.
gonna
Yeah,
gonna
toss
replace
it
the
on the
title of the
resume.
video. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Um,
update that.
so I'm gonna jump on one more topic for the Minneapolis scene,
Yes.
because we did chat about this before. Uh, there's a lot of pushback right now in the community for excessive celebration or for shit talking, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and this kind of came up And someone really kind of threw a question at Minneapolis, like, "Hey, y'all gonna do something about this?"
Yeah.
So I guess the question to you is, y'all gonna do something about this?
um, yeah. Okay. So if the question is like, is Minneapolis going to address like their excessive pop off problem? I urge you to watch the GDC tournament in SF,
Hmm.
and watch the Minneapolis team. Ope was their name.
Oh,
Ope, and just watch them the entire time. They won some matches. They pushed a decent way into that bracket a
yeah,
little
for
bit.
sure.
Played against some good teams. Just watch them play. I didn't see anything. They were actually like pretty quiet. And then watch the team that won the whole tournament. Guys, I love you, but watch the team that won the whole tournament,
Yeah.
and watch the pop-offs. Because the thing is, like, I don't think that Minneapolis has a problem with pop-offs, in the sense that I think that pop-offs are part of this game's culture, whether we want to admit it or not.
Mhm.
Like, if we're not okay with that, if we're not okay with what we're seeing, I think that we need to come together as like a national scene and try and define like what is too much, and have that be something consistent that we can enforce everywhere. I think that will be something that changes the problem, because right now, as it stands, like in Phoenix, they're like, we're the pop off place, man. Like, pop off as hard as you want, dude. Like, you can say whatever, man. Pop off, dude. Like, let's pop off.
You turned
That's
into
what we
dude
do
bro
here.
again, by the way.
I don't know why
Come
that's
on,
like the
man,
default.
bro.
I don't know why that my really eager, excited guy is like a total dude bro, apparently. But yeah, so like in Phoenix, you have that. And then like in Chicago, I feel like everyone that plays in Chicago, or like the majority of people that play in Chicago, like really are taking it upon themselves right now.
Yeah.
The majority of players are really taking it upon themselves right now to, like, even during the most intense games, they're just like, and that was a hat trick. All right, sweet. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Oh,
Good job, guys.
nice kill. Great pincer.
So yeah, I mean, Logan's like a church, like in some tournaments. And I think that it's unfair to players specifically to try and exist in that space where there's so much leeway in terms of what's appropriate or not. As far as, does Minneapolis have a problem with that specifically, I'd say absolutely not.
Right.
I think that, like any scene, there are people that definitely toe the line.
Sure.
And I think that it's difficult when it comes to tournament time. I think it's difficult for everyone to actually comfortably enforce these things, because we all know each other.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows everybody, but chances are, like,
It's
you're
a
at
tight
least
social network. Yeah,
it's a tight
somebody
social
you know
network.
somebody who knows somebody, right? It's
Right. So like, let's say that, like, a Killer Queen tournament of people that dropped into like a regular esports environment where it was run entirely by people that we didn't know, they would have no problem being like, hey, dude, way too much popping off. Like, this is your first warning.
yeah.
You know, they have no tie to us. They don't have to interact with us later. They have no, like, they're doing their job and they don't know us or have previous history. So that would be like no problem for them.
Right.
I think that in a lot of tournaments that I've seen, it's difficult. It's difficult for the TO to be like, hey, man, like, giving you a warning, but I'll see you afterwards. We're going to hang out, right? We're still hanging out. We're still
Right.
hanging out tonight. Burgers at my place, but also giving you a warning, bro. Like,
Right. Yeah, I'll kick you out of this tournament if you do that again, but catch you for drinks later. Let's go.
Right. It's hard. And so I think that if there is a problem with popping off, which I think that in general there is, I think that we have to, as a scene, like as a national scene, define what is appropriate and what's not, and then actually enforce that at tournaments. That would be so cool, because like I think that there's so much stuff that like I think that you should totally be allowed to like express yourself and get loud, but there is definitely like a fine line. Just because you're saying let's go doesn't mean that it can't be said in like a really aggressive, like unsettling way,
Yeah.
you know? And so I think that cherry picking like what phrases are okay and what phrases are not okay, that's a pretty deep rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Because I can say like, all right, team, we've got this win in the bag. I could say that two different ways. One way that would sound really great for my team, and one way that would sound really rude if you were on the other team and you
Yeah.
heard it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that, yeah, it's like we have to figure out where do we stand on this issue as a game? Because, I feel like when Minneapolis represents outside of Minneapolis, it's like, I'm going to say, oh no, I'm going
Oh,
to say it.
oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no,
I'm
baby. It's what you doing.
I'm gonna say it, but like, if right now in its current state, if someone tells me like it's been done in the past, if someone says, "Hey, don't do that," I'll be like, "Okay, it's not important enough to me to keep saying that if it makes people upset."
Yeah.
But some guidelines for general play would would be a great place to start, like solving this problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multi scene committee on the way.
Yeah, I
Let's
mean,
do
in,
it.
in Minneapolis, like we're constantly, if someone like no one in Minneapolis is like, yeah, fuck you, bitch, like you fucking suck at the game,
I'm gonna
like,
censor that bit. Oh my
oh,
goodness,
I'm
Chaco. No,
sorry.
no, it's fine. It's fine, dude. People swear on this show all the fucking time. It's fine.
um, but yeah, like we definitely police, here, but
Yeah.
I've never been to a tournament where Minneapolis is playing where I'm just like, I don't know what.
Yeah, clean up a mess
Yeah,
later.
right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So you talked about, well, a lot. Let's let's talk a little bit about let's bring inclusion into this. Because part of inclusion is, stopping people from being exclusive to some degree.
Yes.
Unless you disagree with that premise. I know it's not, accepted as fact. Um, what are some good means to enforce that kind of stuff? Like, how are we gonna stop people from being exclusive if we see a problem?
Um, so as far as like an organizer standpoint, we try and have events that cater to different, like we try and have, a lot of different events that cater to different skill levels.
Hmm.
Right now we have, our Monday draft, which is like very laid back.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the point where when there are new players, like you definitely there's a hierarchy of like referral to like what you want to do, what's the next step for like
Right.
you're a new player and you're interested. We have draft on Monday. We have league on Wednesday, which is like much more organized.
Yeah.
And our league formats have always been a point of contention with our community because in the beginning, especially, I was basically alternating the format between bring your own team league. You play with the same team for like 6 or 7 weeks,
Hmm.
and then there's a tournament. And then the next league would be some sort of twist where you're just basically not allowed to bring your own team.
Right.
And that was really polarizing. People got really upset,
Yeah.
and it's like it's it's difficult because I'm in the middle and
Yep.
I understand both the sides. Like, hey man, I don't have all the time in the world. I really just when I play this game, I really want to play with like my friends, and that means a lot to me. And I'm not going to be participating in Spicy League because I just want to play with my friends.
Yeah.
I don't want to play on a team that I don't know the people.
Yeah.
And then you have the other side, which is people going, hey man, bring your own team league. Like I always struggle to find a team. I'm like a newer player. I know that I'm like not that good, so like no one's gonna like ask me to be on their team. So like I feel like bring your own team league sucks because I just kind of get put on like some free agent team and we never win any games. So like I really am excited for Spicy League because everyone's gonna be on more even footing.
Yeah.
So like I hear that back and forth. And we've always just kind of steamed through it. Like I don't ever really, in the effort of remaining inclusive, I've always, and like we've always tried to continually provide events and formats for people of all the different skill levels. Because as soon as you make every league bring your own team, or like as soon as everything that's actually organized in the game caters to the people that like really want to go hard and really try,
Yeah.
It's gonna force a lot of people out, whether whether we want to admit that or not.
Yeah.
We
No, I
have
feel
new,
that. Oh, sorry.
yeah. Oh no, no. I was thinking we have newbie tournaments too. Like
Oh
we
yeah.
have tournaments for newbies only. With 16 teams show up for that one.
You know,
Um,
I think you've left something out that we all know about.
oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
left
Please.
out drunk drafts, man. Come on, gotta
No,
represent.
I was getting
Oh,
to that.
okay, all right. I just want to make sure
Yeah.
we don't miss that bit.
Oh God,
Justin
of
and
course.
Marina have put in quite a bit of
They put a
time
lot of
being.
work.
What do you think? You think they get the title of legitimate TO? I feel like
Yeah.
that's a
Oh
point of
God.
contention.
Yeah. No, legit. There's legit POs as I am at this point, man. Like, they're running tournaments, and
They give out prizes. Do you give out prizes?
for league, yeah, I'm not. I don't. They give out.
Oh, come on, man! Don't put me on the.
I'm not giving out prizes from my pockets. They're giving out prizes from their pockets.
Yo, it
Like
doesn't matter where it comes from, man. If as long as it comes from the heart, like
yeah, no, seriously, like props. Drunk Draft, I think, has been a huge success, and like I really admire Justin for doing it because like Justin identified like a gap in our scene, which was there were too many tryhards running, running around, doing whatever. But in all seriousness, like he saw like a need for a more casual event, um, and he just went and did it. Like one day he asked me, he was like, "I want to start running like a draft night after league because the cab is still on free play from league."
yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, tight! Like, what do you need? Like, what do you need to get started?" He was like, "Just give me a whiteboard and keep it on free play." I was like, "All right, man." And now it's like a sacred institution of Minneapolis Killer Queen play is drunk draft. Like
Yeah.
people love it and have a great time, and it's good for. There have been like a lot of new players that that's like a comfortable avenue for them to get started.
Yeah.
It's been good. It's been hard with the marketing campaign behind it, but overall, like it's a great service that he's providing to Minneapolis because it's just another thing for people to do that's not bring your own team night. So
Yeah, and I'm gonna call out Marina again because she's done her fair share of these drunk drafts.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Marina has stepped up as well. Thank you for reminding me about that.
Yeah, for
'Cause
sure. Yeah, come on.
Marina stepped up. She had crazy prizes last time.
Oh yeah, the candles. I saw like
Yeah,
the Palmer
candle.
candle. That was so good.
Yeah. And there was a drunk draft that I was lucky enough to win, and I got a bottle of hot sauce. It was huge, and I was so excited to take it home. I dropped it on the ground that night, shattered
Oh my god, dude.
it everywhere, man. It sucked. So
Oh
yeah.
no.
No, Marina and Justin, like they're a great duo. They answer all the handsome questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez. We gotta go somewhere from this. Yeah. I'm just gonna jump. I'm gonna jump because we've been at this for a little while. I'm gonna jump into the end.
Sure.
I want to know your words of wisdom. Like, what about KQ? Since we haven't talked about the game itself at all, what about KQ is like the most important to you? Like, what do you think?
I think as far as like the most important part of the game itself, for me, it's like you always have to remember that like you're there to have a good time.
Mhm.
And like for me, it's you know, every tournament I just look at all the people and I think about like how crazy it is that we're all together, like so passionate about like a game like this. And I think that from a macro perspective, before we get into like the game, it's the game, it's like I think that it's really important when you're playing to just like try and stay positive and have as much fun as you can, because like it's a really the fact that we're all traveling and staying at each other's places and like interacting with each other from across the country and even just playing with people in the same city that you live in, like it's a pretty awesome thing.
Yeah.
Easy to lose sight of that when you're down like 0-2 and you're on tournament life.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, but as if you would know right now.
Oh, come on. All right.
But yeah. So as far as like a macro thing, as far as a micro thing, about like playing the game, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but there is this kind of fear, I think, from a lot of people that want to be really good. There's this fear of engaging in play that would be considered like cute or fun.
Yeah.
Doing things like trying to deliberately bait your opponent into like making a mistake. Maybe you are holding a scrape and you like drop down and then you come back up after they think that they're going to punish you. Like things that are inherently risky and not optimal, but you're assuming you're playing against your opponent at that point, not the game.
Yeah.
Like that's on paper, that's suboptimal.
Sure.
Right. And we had a post on the Facebook by Artie, who asked a question earlier today, posted a clip of him doing pretty much just that, where he was surrounded by two warriors on Dusk. He drops down deliberately, and the other warrior comes in to punish, and he comes back up and sticks and gets a kill out of it.
Yeah.
And he posted that clip, and he was like, this is an example of like fun stuff, but like I would never do it in a tournament, man.
Dude, man.
Dude, bro. Bro, listen, bro. Never do this to another bro in a tournament, but I'm telling you, dude. Yeah. So he made that post, and for me, it's like I think that's great. I think that more people should be playing the game in a way that like actually feels like you're expressing yourself.
Yeah.
Because Killer Queen is it's fairly limited in terms of like what you can actually do.
Right.
Like you
it's
can't.
The button and the stick.
The button and the stick. You're not gonna do like a backflip in Killer Queen, or there's no like 25 hit combo that you can memorize or do. It's flying, scraping, good timing, like movement. Yeah. There are obviously a lot of nuances, but it's little things like the cute stuff and the fun stuff that I will always do.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, I'm not really playing the game in my own way. Like, I want to, I'll get punished for it too. I'll get punished for doing the cute stuff. I'll die. I'll lose eggs, man. Like, but I don't regret it because that's fun. That's like fun. And I think that everybody that plays with me, especially people that play when I'm queening, they know that sometimes you might not even blink, and I died 3 times.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm always trying to push. I'm always trying to play against my opponent and not against the game.
Yeah.
So I'll do little things like, in the day opener, like, 2 queens are bouncing off of each other over middle gate, and I'll like hold down and pretend to dive for a little bit and see if the other queen goes for the dive, and then you go for the dive after that. Like little tiny things that are suboptimal, because if I'm holding down and the other queen just doesn't buy it at all and just goes right into me, I am dead.
Yeah.
I am dead. But there's so much metagame that is so fun to explore in KQ, because we're all pretty much, from a mechanical standpoint, like a lot of us are as good as you can be in terms of like, can you hit your stick? Cool. All right, check. Can you hold a scrape? Cool, check.
Got it.
So everything that comes from there, that's like so fun about this game, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it leads to mistakes, but
Yeah.
I would rather be someone that you can recognize because I play the game differently than just, I don't know.
It's the Chacko. You got the Chacko moves.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I'm still working on what it could be, but
all right.
know.
Well,
Yeah.
I wait with bated breath. It sounds like a sick move.
I assure you it will be.
Oh yeah. So I mean, that's I think a great note to end on. Self-expression in KQ. As far as how you chat on the cap, how you play the game itself, how you connect with your teammates, and we've kind of touched on all of it. So we've got a nice theme to this episode, I guess. So
nice, everyone, all the time and have fun.
Yeah. Hey, listen, and if you're not having fun, start having fun. Okay.
Yeah, do it now.
Whatever that means to you.
Or there will be consequences.
Signed, Chacko.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show, man. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks to everybody for watching the episode. We'll catch you again next week. Thanks for watching the Hot Take.